We are continuing to follow the latest this morning on the Lunar New Year celebration that turned into a tragedy over the weekend in California. A gunman opened fire inside of a dance hall in Monterey Park, killing 10 people and injuring several others. He then went to another dance hall, and two patrons there were able to disarm him. Police later found him dead from a self-inflicted gunshot wound. Joining us this morning to talk more about the investigation is Dreke. He is the retired FBI special agent and head of the Counterintelligence Behavioral Analysis Program. Thank you for giving us some time this morning. The killer is dead, but the investigation into what happened is really just beginning. Explain to us what they will be looking at and answer questions they'll be trying to answer.
Hi, Marni. Yeah, they're going to be doing a lot to try to understand the motive for not just this investigation, but preventing future ones as well. And luckily, it looks like the sheriff's department had a really strong relationship with the community. I think that's one of the reasons why they found the subject so fast. Also, it looks like the subject knew, or the predator knew, the individuals he was targeting. So it actually helped in describing what was going on to law enforcement when they're investigating. So they're going to be looking at those motives. They're going to be looking to try to prevent these things in the future to keep people safe.
And you say it is striking that there were two locations involved. Why is that? If
someone's targeting just one individual, there's a lot of places and ways in which they can target the individual they're trying to kill, as opposed to not just the individual, but they're looking at a larger group. So it looks like this individual wasn't just targeting his wife that might have wronged him and he was feeling like he needed retribution against, but he killed a larger swath of individuals. So I think it was both situations here, where you have someone who's feeling retribution that they want to take out against their wife or their spouse, as well as a larger group that they feel wronged by.
The shooting happened at a dance hall at a time when they were celebrating. It's been described as a soft target, or the victims described as soft targets. Explain what that really means.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of the word soft target because it almost makes it sound like it's the victim's fault that they were chosen. I prefer to look at it as the predator is going to do all they can to increase the likelihood of their success from their standpoint, as well as make it survivable by them. And so, correct in what this looked like, it looked like it was a group of mostly elderly people at a time where their defenses are going to be down, their psychological resistance is going to be lower, and so that makes it a more viable target for a predator to go attack.
We now know, Robin, that there were some really brave bystanders that jumped in and were able to thwart a second attack. What does that tell you about people's understanding that this can happen anywhere, anytime, and to be ready, and then their willingness to jump in if needed?
Yeah, that was the most striking part to me. And there's multiple reasons that can happen. The first thing that struck me was most likely the individuals that disarmed him might have had some familiarity with him, because again, you're not going to go after someone that's got a handgun or any sort of weapon unless you feel some sort of level of confidence that you can disarm or de-escalate the individual. And that comes through either familiarity, or maybe they were notified by the last location that, hey, be on the lookout, someone's coming this way. So there's some sort of foreknowledge of either the event or the individual that helps play into that. Couple that with bravery and the desire to survive, it goes a long way, but really commendable efforts, no doubt.
Right. Acting without really even thinking about it. You know, it is incumbent upon all of us in this day and age. If we see something, we have to say something. If you have information that could prevent something like this, you have to speak up and alert authorities. How will they be looking into this killer's past, digital history, or any warning signs that may have existed?
Yeah, they're going to look at a large swath of everything in his life. And I really think that the reason why they were able to find him so rapidly, as I stated earlier, is the local law enforcement has a really strong relationship with the community, because when the community feels safe to bring law enforcement information and share it rapidly, it helps law enforcement do their job, which is to keep people safe. And so they are going to be looking at a large swath of information. It looks like this individual had a lot of interaction with the community, at least in these dance halls. And so there's going to be a lot of information there, especially as we're hearing other things leak leaking out that he might have had anger issues or felt different emotions that people are reporting on. So I think they're going to be able to paint the picture pretty rapidly of this individual.
Yeah, and even in the end, if we know the why, it still won't make sense to so many of us. Robin, Dreke, thank you for your time this morning. Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.